Hey guys, welcome back to Ty with the Morgans. It's been a little bit. Kate and I and the kids, we went to Deep Creek this past weekend with our cousins. So we were there. Before that, there's a chicken trying to jump up on here. Sorry. Well, that means we gotta get going. Anyways, so yeah, we've just been busy, so we haven't had a whole lot of videos. By the time you're seeing this now, there's probably a couple that you have seen. But as the time of filming this, there's been about a week, I think, since our last video. And we were on a good stretch there. So don't worry, videos are coming. We got them in the works. But yeah, so here with Hunter, my dad and my mom are gone. They are out. I don't even know where they're at right now. Maybe they're with Hannah. Maybe my dad might be near Philly. They're doing a lot of running the next few days. So they're getting around. Not too sure where they're at right now, but yeah. So it's just me and Hunter right now doing the morning sheets run, except it's late. It's 10:30. Hunter slept in. That's all right. So yeah, we're gonna run over to sheets and then come back, and in a little bit we'll be heading over. We'll be walking to my house and having some lunch with Kate and the kids. And then we'll go from there. So Hunter's just gonna have a snack right now, not a meal, because he can eat again in a little bit. But yeah, do I know what we're getting in? Do I know what we're getting into today? No. I got a lot of stuff I got to do inside, but it's a beautiful day. I'm definitely hoping to get outside and do some things. Big old groundhog crossing the road right now. Oh, and he's into the drain pipe. Well, that's it for right now then. Let's see what else we get into though. Hopefully something exciting. It would not be complete without a walk with the dogs. Hunter's taking a nap right now. He actually just laid down. We're just gonna run up the trail. Eva's at the house too. I might have already mentioned this in the video. I don't remember if I did, but check these out. Got these on Amazon for $7. $7.99. I'll put a link in the description, and I'll pin a comment with a link to this. If you're trying to collect seeds, I think these are a must-have. These little mesh bags. Has like a drawstring at the top. You can just pull it tight. They're awesome. The reason is, I've mentioned this before, but maybe you didn't catch it. Seeds, if you put it in a plastic bag and you leave them in there, it's not going to dry out. They'll get moldy and they'll be no good. They need to breathe. So paper's really good. Canvas. This mesh right here. See, you can see a little better. I got 100 of them for I think $7.99. So there'll be a link to those. I recommend them. That's a lot. 100's a lot. What I did is I put some in my fanny pack. I put some in my truck. I put some in my backpack. I put some in Kate's car. Tried to have them anywhere I could ever need them. Like if I'm on a hike, am I going to have my fanny pack, or am I going to have some in my pocket, or whatever? You know, I try to put them anywhere that'd be. So maybe like just for this past weekend, we were in Deep Creek, and I had a bunch already in Kate's car, and I collected some seeds down at the property. So yeah, very important if you're into seed collecting, I think. So these are them. You can see it in the light a little better here. But yeah, they're not very big. They have bigger sizes. These are perfect for what I'm using. I even was picking up some smaller acorns down at the property. And you can fit a good bit in here, surprisingly. And yeah, so I mean, if you're doing something like, you know, chestnuts or walnuts or hickory nuts. Archie ripped up a big piece of grass. Archie! If you're doing something like, you know, tree nuts, it's obviously not ideal for it. But with something like that, I just have always used buckets. And those work because air can get in there, they can breathe. So that's something to keep in mind. But if you're trying to do any herbaceous plant, any wildflower, anything like that, grasses, sedges, this is the way to go. So check out that link. It's cheap. I think it's worth it. And for that price, I mean, you're not going to use 100 of them. That's a lot. What I'm also doing at home too is I'm then taking a sheet of paper and I'm just ripping off a little piece of it. Mostly I'm just using scrap paper because we have lots of just junk mail, things like that, right? So I'm just ripping off a piece of a junk envelope, and I write on there the scientific name, the common name, the date it was collected, and then I'll just stick that in here because, you know, you can collect seeds and you think like, oh, I won't forget what it is, and in 2 weeks you'll go back and you'll be like, oh, wait a second, they actually do kind of look similar. So I think it's easy to get them confused, especially if you're collecting things you aren't, you know, too common with. So consider getting these. Check them out if you're into it. And what I really recommend is just trying it out. If there's a flower that you have, if it's black-eyed Susans, or, you know, a type of coneflower, or a sunflower, if there's anything that you have an interest in, even if it's something like basil, something you grew in your garden, try these for seed collecting. Try it out. And I think that's the best way to learn, you know. Just start experimenting. Read online, you know, look for videos. There's tons of things out there, tons of resources on this stuff. So try it out, and comment below if you've done this before, and let me know. I'd like to hear how that works for you guys, and if it's something you're interested in trying. So I mean, 100's a lot, and then you can reuse them, right? So that's the great part. So I don't see me needing more anytime soon, unless I want to get some bigger ones. What's up? Hey. She loves Archie.
Hi, Papa.
So a little bit of change of plans, short walk. So I am now taking a little ride up to the orchard, and I've been meaning to get over here for a while now just to check out. There's this one meadow my dad had kind of cleared out a few years ago, and it's beautiful. But I walked through there a couple months ago, and I was identifying some of the native plants then, but I wanted to see, you know, now later in the season there's always different things popping up, and I wanted to take a look. I've been meaning to. I had some time before Eva leaves the house, and I've been not enough time to walk it. And plus I get way too distracted, so I was just gonna run over here in the side-by-side. And my dad had a lot of stuff in the back, so one of the things was a saw. It probably would have been okay, but some parts of this trail are pretty rough, and I didn't want to go too slow. I kind of wanted to just, you know, ride and not have to worry about something falling out. So the one thing I took out was the chainsaw. That's just my luck, because here's what we got. This is on the way up to the orchard. I just came from down here. It's a full-time job keeping these trails clear. Fortunately, it's not a big one. I should be able to move this thing by hand. But yeah, what are the chances? The one thing I take out of the side-by-side is the chainsaw. So let's see what we got here. It's a cherry, a black cherry. Yep. All right. Trail is clear. All along the roads and in the trails and in the woods is this white snakeroot right now. It's in full bloom. I love it. And there's hemp dogbane, white snakeroot, and then mostly all Japanese stiltgrass. I don't know how well you can hear me right now. Hopefully you can hear me. See if we can identify anything cool in here. Considering nothing's been planted, it's just gonna all grow naturally. Maybe he planted a grass, I don't remember actually. It's been about 5 years. Probably longer than 5 years actually. Yeah. Looking like grass. Some small oaks. See, oaks are everywhere. Well, a little boring. I'm thinking he definitely mowed this, and I think I forgot about that. That might be why. I think I was thinking it hadn't been mowed. But it definitely was, because I was here earlier in the year and this stuff was a lot taller. So I guess we won't know today. sensitive fern is that lighter colored one. This white snakeroot though, it is all over the place. I love it. It grows, it has like a rhizome root system, so that's why it spreads. It can be very aggressive, but it's beneficial. It's native. It's a pollinator. Look at that. How cool is that? Just goes all around here. Here's a closer look. You probably have these, but maybe not. So yeah, this is it. A little closer. Yeah, the seeds actually are dispersed by wind. So these tiny seed heads here will develop, and that's how it grows. Another way it spreads so aggressively. Its native range, I believe it's like, I looked at this before, and I want to say it's a good rule of thumb, I guess, is just, I know Texas is a big state, but pretty much from Texas north, and then everything east of that. I don't necessarily know off the top of my head the specific line, but I do know it's in Texas, and it's not anywhere further west. So everywhere like north of Texas and then to the east, and it's native all in those states. So big part of the country, but again, I don't know. If you ever need a to know the range of something, its native range, use Prairie Moon. PrairieMoon.com. I think it's PrairieMoon.com. Yeah, it's a nursery out of Wisconsin, I believe, maybe Minnesota. And so it's a native plant nursery that has, they sell seeds, they sell you know, potted plants, whatever. They sell a lot of stuff, but the point is, for each plant that they have, it tells you the native range down to the specific county. And why that matters is because there's plenty of plants that aren't native to one county but may be native to another county. And I mean, if it's native to your state, that's good, but try to get it down to the county, because, you know, there's a reason it's supposed to be growing there, and sometimes it needs our help to, you know, intervene. And, you know, I think we are, you know, if you own land, you're a habitat manager. You know, that habitat's dependent on you, because the land here has been managed for thousands of years. You know, the Native Americans, they did controlled burns, they managed the land, and man does need to intervene. I think often people think just let it go, but that's not the case. You know, we need to intervene, we need to control things, especially with the amount of invasives in the country. We do have to intervene, and we have a responsibility to do so, I think. I'm getting off topic. Prairie Moon, great resource if you wanted to find a native range, so check that out. Check out what I had found. This here, it's called Downy Woodmint. I had to use the app Seek for this, and that's how you learn. You know, I don't know every single plant, but I learn. I use Seek and iNaturalist and learn. So this one looks like it's gone to seed, I think. I think these are the seeds. But yeah, it's called Downy Woodmint. And so I just looked this up on Prairie Moon to check the native range that I was just talking about. And it is native here. So the dark green, I know this is hard to see, I'm sure, but the dark green means present in state. There's a lighter green that means present but introduced in county, and then there's a really light green that means present and native in county, not rare. Yellow means it's rare in the county. So we look over here and we see it's, you know, in our area, this lighter green here, it is native to our county, and it's present. But it tells us a little bit about this. The scientific name is Blophilia ciliata. Sure, I pronounced that wrong, but I don't know a whole lot about this, so I'm going to read you what I'm looking at right now on Prairie Moon. It says, so it gets these nice purple flowers here, so it can look like this. It'll spread through rhizomes, so it can be aggressive, but that's a good thing. So yeah, very cool plant. I wish I saw this when it was in bloom. And yeah, they don't get very tall. They get about 1 foot tall. Yeah, pretty cool. It says deer don't really bother it. It has a bitter taste. But pollinators, it's important for pollinators. Other names: downy pagoda plant, Ohio horse mint, and sunny wood mint. So it is a part of the mint family. I'm going to collect these seed heads. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Yeah, they look like seeds. And again, right here, got one with me. So I'm going to just take that with me. I don't see any more around here. Found some more here, here, here. So it looks like it is spreading slowly. There's another one. It's hard to see right now with it not being in bloom. So a couple weeks ago, this probably was beautiful. Some nice purple flowers. Would have liked to have seen that. But yeah, I don't really know how I noticed that. It was when I was talking about the snakeroot, I think, or no, I was talking about, you know, our responsibility to manage land, and that's when I just happened to notice it. And once I finished that clip, I immediately checked it out. Yeah. Got one small white snakeroot. You have the downy wood mint, and then in here, this little pink flower here, purple flower, is wild basil. It's native here as well. Pretty cool. Don't know much about it either. Gonna learn though. And then this looks like more of the downy woody mint with some purple leaves. I don't know if that's because of fall. Again, I'm gonna find out. And that downy woody mint is all through this area. I mean, I can see how it can be aggressive. It's pretty cool. And aggressive, I don't think, is always a bad thing. I think sometimes that is just associated with a bad thing, but I don't think that's the case with native plants that have benefits. Yeah, really cool. A little bit of wild basil. So up here in the orchard, it goes, I've said this before, like always look along like fence posts, or, you know, especially on like along roadways, you'll see along the fence lines and places where they can't mow. That's where you'll sometimes find some really cool plants. And in this case, over here where it didn't get mowed, there is autumn olive starting, which is just the worst. And there's more autumn olive over here. I pulled up a few by hand, but they have some thorns in there. That's all I can get right now without any gloves. Yeah, so some cool small plants. I bet they would have been taller had they, maybe they weren't even mowed. I'm not sure. They probably weren't mowed because of where they were. Yeah. But see, acorns are falling, leaves are changing. We're getting there. Right here is Japanese barberry. It has a very nice red color to it in the fall, and that's one of the selling points. Problem is, highly invasive. It's non-native, with hence the name Japanese, and you don't want it. It spreads, it's aggressive, and it's the bad aggressive. It takes over a property and limits the native plants from growing. I've heard from someone before in the comments that deer eat it, but that might be true. I don't know if deer eat it, but just because a deer eats it, deer eat a lot more plants than a lot of other animals in the woods, right? The deer will eat things that others won't, but they're not as picky, is what I'm trying to say. That doesn't mean that's a good thing, because that is spreading and taking over native plants. And it's not just a matter of it takes over. I mean, that's a big part. But when it takes over, then other plants can't grow. And that's plants that, you know, butterflies, caterpillars are dependent on. Other animals, birds might be dependent on. And so there's that Japanese barberry there. There's autumn olive here. There's all of these invasive plants, and it isn't even just a matter of, like I said, not allowing other plants to grow. That's a big part of it. It takes over, other plants struggle to grow, but more than that is it's changing the ecosystem. I mean, these soil types, these plants, a lot of those plants are host plants for caterpillars and, you know, butterflies, so many other things like that it plays a role in, and that it impacts negatively. But also it's impacted, there's been studies of different birds that if they are eating too much oriental bittersweet or other invasives, they're losing their vibrant color. It's actually changing the way that these animals look. It's changing their appearance because they're not getting, because properties become consumed with those things, with a lot of these invasives. So it might seem like, oh, they eat it, it's good. It's not always good. Most of the time it's not good, because those birds are native to here, should be eating things native to here. They shouldn't be eating plants from Japan. And so there's been studies, and I took a Penn State class on invasive plants, and throughout that class they showed a lot of different pictures of these really beautiful birds, and then they showed the ones that are eating only those invasive plants, and what's happening is their color's much less vibrant. It's really sad to see that it does so much more than just limiting the food sources that these animals have, but it also is starting to impact their features, their colors, a lot of things like that. I just saw a big shadow. I was trying to see the bird, but yeah, so all of it's bad.